Thanks everyone for coming and listening to me speak, and for Token2049 for having me. My name's Mike Taormina. I'm co-head of institutional business for the Index Cooperative. I'll get into what that is in just a moment. First, let's take a look at this diagram. I saw a lot of these over the last 10 years. This is made by CB Insights, a market intel firm around the VC space, based in New York, and it's around the unbundling, in this case, of Bank of America or finance. All of the various startups that are focused on specific aspects of these large incumbents. And they put together, this is fintech, they put it together for unbundling Harvard, unbundling UPS, unbundling DuPont for edtech and logistics and chemicals. And where I think the teens were all about unbundling, due to crypto innovation, I think the 2020s are going to be all about decentralizing models. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Decentralizing Blackrock, which is decentralizing asset management. Now, not to go after BlackRock, they're a victim of their own success in many ways. That's why they're up here. That's why Bank of America was up there. They are the world's largest asset manager, managing over $9 trillion at this point of AUM. Their CEO has been at the helm since 1988, almost my entire life. They do pretty much everything in the asset management space. And so what we're wondering is, how can a decentralized model kind of turn what they're doing on its head? Can it be done? So a little bit about me real quick. I've hit all 3 stops of the finance highway. I've worked in traditional asset management at JP Morgan. I then spent the next 10 years in fintech startups, most notably co-founding my own, Common Bond, a student refinancing platform. But now I'm home. Now I'm home in DeFi at the Index Cooperative. And so what is that, right? The Index Cooperative is the leading source of on-chain crypto index funds. We're a decentralized community of content and growth marketers, of technologists, crypto experts, and TradFi fintech refugees like me, all working to make crypto investing simple, safe, and accessible for everyone. The way that we do that is through a product suite that is growing every month that appeals to the different types of folks that are in the crypto space right now on-chain. We have 3 products that offer thematic exposure to key crypto themes. So the first is our flagship product, the DeFi Pulse Index, DPI, gets you exposure to decentralized finance. We have the Metaverse Index, which gets you exposure to entertainment, sports, music, all of the things that are coming onto virtual worlds. We have the Data Index as our newest product. That gets you exposure to Web3 applications that are going after Web 2 in all things data. So decentralized oracles, decentralized queries, decentralized file storage, etc. We have a product that we did with Bankless called the BED Index that gets you exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and decentralized finance via our DPI product in an equal-weighted fashion. And then we also have products for active traders, and that's where our Fly series comes in. We have a product for Bitcoin and a product for Ethereum where you get 2x leverage on-chain. You buy a single token, and you get the experience of having a collateralized debt position on Compound. You don't have to worry about it. You buy the token. We take care of it for you. All in, our products today have around $400 million of total value locked, or AUM, to use a traditional metric. And if you look at us versus the rest of the space, it's very early, but we are the leader in the space. We are winning. And so I think it made sense for us to come out here and talk about what a decentralized model looks like. So the question I've posed to myself is, how does a decentralized model compare and outcompete with legacy competitors? We're not talking about going after what BlackRock is doing. We're not going to start doing real estate funds, as far as I know, right? Not anytime soon. We're more thinking about when they come into the crypto space, and they are increasingly, how is our decentralized model going to stand up not just as an alternative, but as a preferred option? And so that's the question at hand. And I'd argue there are 5 ways that we outcompete the legacy competitors. The first way is through decentralized technology. We use SET protocol to power all of our products. Okay, SET protocol actually birthed Index Cooperative a year ago this week. They're a VC-backed fund, VC-backed startup in San Francisco. And their technology, if you think a lot of talk today is about fractionalizing NFTs in many components, well, SET kind of goes the other way. So they take the standard Ethereum ERC20 tokens and aggregate them into a single token. What does that do for you? That means you just have to purchase one thing to get exposure to many of the underlying components. You can save on gas. You don't have to worry about picking winners. You get diversified exposure. And you can launch many products on SET. Any one of you can go on to SET and launch a product. But the vision of SET's CEO and co-founder, Felix Fang, was that a community behind the products launched on SET would give it their best chance to be leaders in the space. And that's where Index Cooperative comes in. Second reason why we're going to outcompete the legacy competitors as they come on chain is the user experience. So what can they offer today, the legacy competitors? Limited partnership funds. You heard just a half hour ago talk about ETFs, trusts, right? That's what most people are familiar with. That's how we've been doing it for decades. We argue that we have a much better user experience versus those. What do you usually get with those? They're high fees. You can only get in or out at certain times. Or the market might not be open, so you can't get out. You compare that to, and one other thing I'd argue is that sometimes we've seen this, there's a disconnect between the net asset value and the market value of the underlying assets. It's a problem, right? Sometimes you might be buying at a premium or selling at a discount. Let's compare that to our user experience. It's cheaper. It's more liquid in that you can get out at any time. So if there are news breaks in China on a Sunday night, you can get out in the next block. You can't do that with the legacy product, right? And the other thing is that you are in control at the end of the day of the product. It is self-custodied. So DeFi Pulse, the methodologist for the DPI product, our flagship product, they can't access the funds. We can't access the funds. You are the only ones that access the funds. It's very different from a centralized model. Another thing that's interesting is because you have control over the assets, you can actually redeem them for the underlying at any time. Imagine going to to any of your brokers like E-Trade or Schwab with a SPY share and unlocking it for the 500 underlying components. You couldn't do that. But if you have a DPI token, you can actually unlock it for the underlying 17 components that are in the index today, the Uniswap, Aave, Compound, Synthetic, etc. The third reason, we are natively integrated into DeFi, right? This adds a benefit in that we know all the players in the space. We understand the space really well, so we attract some of the best methodologists to work with us. That's why we have the product with Bankless. That's why we work with DeFi Pulse. And we have others in the pipeline that are known entities in the space. They know the products, so our likelihood of creating something that actually resonates with the end user is really high. The other thing is that we have a partnership team that goes around to create extrinsic opportunities for productivity. What does that mean? That means that you can take your DPI and you can lend it out. You can create leverage. You can stake it. You can yield farm with it. And that's because we understand these integrations intimately. The fourth reason why we're going to outcompete the legacy competitors is meta-governance. And this is turning corporate governance and shareholder proxy voting on its head. What does meta-governance mean? So for all of the DPI that's purchased, as we accumulate more and more Aave, Compound, Uniswap tokens, those tokens are voted on not by a 50-person team at BlackRock, but by all of the holders of the index token, everyone who has the governance token for our community. That's pretty powerful. So it self-selects people who are very engaged in steering the course of these really important DeFi initiatives and proposals. So we might even propose something. If we wanted to list Aave, DPI on Aave, we can make that proposal we can put that proposal up there. We're not going to be able to vote it in. The rest of the community needs to do that, but that's a way for us to kind of put more value in our products. But then we also play a role in steering how a lot of these protocols are going to be managed, going forward. And that really speaks to the #1 reason why we're going to outcompete the legacy competitors, and that is our community, right? We have effectively super fans who own the product, talk all day about the product. They're in the audience right now. And that's something that a BlackRock just can't, I'd argue, just can't compete with, because there's so much passion behind what we're doing. And because it's global, it's spreading, right? So word is getting out on our product suite, and it's all really thanks to the community. So 5 reasons why we're going to win. We have decentralized technology that puts ownership in your hands at the end of the day. That technology powers a better user experience. We're intimately integrated into the ecosystem, so we attract the best methodologists, talents. We create the best products. That allows us to perform our meta governance function and actually help steer the course of the DeFi ecosystem. And all of that is powered by a community, which is our #1 asset. So as far as what's next, I'd argue 3 things. If you want to talk to us, we have a booth in the other room. If you want to become a product methodologist, if you want to actually join the community and contribute, the door is always open. And if you want to partner with us, if you list or integrate DeFi products, we would love to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you at the booth.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Mike. Really interesting to see what you guys have built and what you're executing. It's an impressive total value locked as well. And as I am active in your community, I see all the amazing contributions and on the governance side of stuff. Do we have any questions in the room? Yes, sir.
A bit curious on the index. Would that be like free available for everyone? Everyone can like use it. Every project can use it.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Oh yeah. Would the index be free for everyone to use?
You get it to what's the business model, right? That's how I took the question, right? So the business model is each of the products has a streaming fee. You could think of it like an expense ratio. Does that answer the question?
One sec, sir. Let me make sure you're mic'd up.
So for example, I'm developing some other product with other people, and I want to like use a free index. Would this product be like fitting into that category?
I'm sorry, I'm getting like a little feedback here. I'm sorry about that.
So I'm developing a product,
Yeah.
so like a synthetic token.
Yep.
So would this product be like free available for us to use?
It's different from synthetics, okay, in that these are using set protocol. You actually have ERC20 tokens. You know what? Well, I'll take this offline, and we can talk about that at the booth.
How do you deal with an index being created and then auto-rebalancing depending upon the price of maybe each of one of those tokens in that index? How does that work?
Got it, right. So we'll take DPI, for example. So the way that any of our products work, there's 3 key players. There is the methodologist that creates the rules for the product. There is SET that powers it, that's the technology. And then you have the community behind it that is promoting and doing all sorts of stuff, like my group with institutional business. So let's take DPI, and how does that work once it's launched? So every month, the methodologist will look at the entire screen of DeFi tokens, apply the methodology rules, and come up with a new asset allocation. This happens, in DPI's case, on a monthly basis. It can happen more or less frequently. It depends on the product. The new allocations are posted the 3rd week of the month, and then those are executed on chain the 1st business day of the new month.
And do you think in the future that that monthly will go weekly, daily, hourly? I mean, will we start to see those times come down, or do you think there'll be need for that?
Based on what's in the product pipeline right now, and our aspirations in general to just make things more and more automated, yes, I would assume that we would be doing that. We have looked at products that would be rebalancing as much as weekly. And so maybe it does get down to where we're doing it on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm sure you're busy enough with a lot of other things, bringing it down to weekly and daily and hourly. It's a tall thing. Do you have a question, sir? I like your T-shirt. Do you have any more questions? Okay, let's go. I'll go you first, sir.
Hi there. I was wondering how open the protocol is. For example, could you make a personal index that other people could invest in?
Absolutely. It's completely permissionless. Anyone can go to set protocol and create, I can go create my coin, I guess. Okay. The thing is, people are unlikely to buy it. And that's the difference.
Depends who you are.
That's true. That's actually true. So that's why we work with methodologists that are known in the space. So when they create a product, there is some brand behind that product. That's why we worked with Bankless to create that crypto starter product.
Okay.
Right?
Sounds good. Thank you.
You got it.
How does it work with proof of stake tokens, which are inflationary, and there might be bonding period involved?
How does it work with proof of stake tokens that are inflationary? I think, if I understand that question correctly, like part of the methodology for, say, DPI is that it doesn't disadvantage passive holders. So there are certain tokens that do have an inflationary component to them. We actually steer away from having that because it's to the disadvantage of a passive holder.
Did you have a question? There we go.
Just a question about the governance. So with the methodologist, is the idea that the methodologist proposes a methodology and then the community people vote on it?
You got it, right? So there's a whole pipeline. So someone will come to our forum or to our product team first, ideally. We'll talk through the product, we'll give them some feedback, we'll discuss how it aligns with what we think is a strong product. It'll then get posted to the forum. People will thrash it, they'll love it, like we'll have a big fight about it, it's a lot of fun. Then it goes up for a vote. And the vote is basically, do we want to look into this more? And oftentimes that first vote is a yes. We really are passionate about these products, so we want to dig in deep. Then it's a question of, okay, how can we ensure that there's sufficient liquidity? We start thinking about things like what my group works on, which is centralized exchange listings, making sure it's supported at custodians, et cetera. We have our marketing team that works on the launch. And so if it gets through to the second gate and gets at least 60% of the token holders in favor, it'll get launched.
Right, thank you.
Could you, does it hold non-fungible tokens, for example, or other digital assets?
So we do have some NFT exposure in our metaverse index, and there is a product. Any of you can check this out. You can go to our forums and see what we're hatching. There's a product in proposal called JPEG, JPG. Okay. All right, so aims to get at the NFT theme.
Thank you.